It's important to note this episode contains discussions of suicide, which some listeners may find distressing.
G'day and welcome back to the Brink, everybody.
Before we begin, feel free to like, share, subscribe, and follow,
Why do they have to do that?
because it helps us.
I've never actually liked, shared, and subscribed to anything, to be honest.
Anyway, guys, thanks for your support, and more importantly, enjoy the episode. Okay, before we start, just thank you for doing this, obviously. We really appreciate
my
it.
pleasure. My pleasure. I've been listening to them. They're really fun. You've actually made me listen to a lot of podcasts. I didn't do that. I used to have music on in the car when I'm driving to work and home, but I listen to podcasts now, and I really enjoy it.
They're kind
sweet.
of hooky when you get a good one. I mean, our topics
Yeah.
are pretty varied, so I think people can kind of jump in and jump out of them.
Yeah.
But it's just stuff we're interested in, like it's
Yeah.
it's just our speed.
Yeah, tear in, mate.
It's
Tear in.
it's nice hearing other people, I love hearing other people's stories. Like I love watching biographies and things like that. And it doesn't matter where they're from. I don't have, people
Yeah.
go, oh, you've got a lot of fashion. It's like, no, I don't. It's like, that's not, but just anything. Like it can be historic. It can be people that I don't know. And I find it interesting just hearing other people's stories.
Yeah, hard.
Well, we're going to hear yours today.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. Today on The Brink, we're joined by one of Australia's true style powerhouses, my great mate, Alex Perry. You know the name from dressing global icons like Jennifer Lopez,
Wow.
Kim Kardashian, and Gigi Hadid to gracing international fashion weeks and becoming a household face on shows like Australia's Next Top Model and Project Runway. But this episode, it's not just about the glitz. We're diving into the grind behind the glam, the pressure behind the polish, the toll of a so-called glamorous industry, and how Alex's humble Greek roots helped shape his empire. We'll dig into the real stuff, social media's dark side, online bullying, body image, how Alex sees humanity being chipped away in a digital world obsessed with image, and why drive, purpose, and empathy matter more than ever.
Wow. What a lovely introduction.
Good intro.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Welcome,
thanks
Alex.
for coming on, mate.
No, thank you, boys. I really appreciate it.
I don't know a lot about you, Alex, but when I first saw
Well, he
you...
just told you. That was it.
Episode's done.
But when I first saw
Yeah, thanks. See you later.
when you first popped up on the screen, so when did you sort of explode onto the scene? Sort of in the 90s, maybe?
It was in the early 90s. I used to be a model agent. Like when I finished studying at college, I kind of didn't want to do what I was doing. I don't know. I studied and then I didn't want to go into fashion for a minute. And so I sort of went into a fashion associated business and I became a model agent. So I repped models for about 4 years, I think it was. And it was fun. It was a great job. I worked for like top agencies and did a lot of work with international agencies and great fashion girls. But then at some point, I just decided I don't want to be on my deathbed and then think like I wonder what would have happened if I had if I'd followed that. And by that stage, I was finished studying. But then I sort of was curious about it as well. So I opened a shop and started making one-off dresses for people. I did like evening wear, I did bridal, and then it just rolled on from there. Really, but I did that for about 15 years, like custom made clothing, and then finally moved into ready to wear. And then once that happened, I got an agent in Paris. So it took basically a suitcase over. There was no strategy for it, and thought, what, if I can sell to a couple of boutiques internationally, that would be great. That did really well, and that just season after season, like I have a showroom there now, and we show 4 times a year for each collection, and we have all of our international buyers that come in and they view the collection, place their orders. That's the abridged version, but it was like from going overseas, everything changed in a way. Like I was well known in Australia, I guess, for my clothes. I did some TV work, which I thought was going to really blow things up in a great way for the clothing. It didn't. It made me very known, but it did almost nothing for the actual. That my strategy was like, I'll get on TV, everybody will see it, and they'll go, let me have a look at his clothes. But it didn't work like that. It put more of a focus on me and invited a lot of kind of unwanted attention for a long time. It's like, oh, hang on, so you this is not what I thought it was going to be. And it wasn't, you're not actually looking at my clothes. You're kind of looking at me and what I'm doing. And it changed it. So it was fun for a lot of reasons, and it was great in a lot of respects. But the reason why I thought it made good sense to go and do that, it ended up not being that. It pulled focus from it, if anything, and it damaged things in Australia, because people, I mean, like people in my industry, like the fashion editors and the people that I sort of sought validation from, I didn't get it for that. It was like, oh, he's that guy on TV. And then did a really great deal with Specsavers, and I've been working with them for a long time. And, I wear my glasses on my head, and I kind of became a caricature, I think. And they didn't like that. And because I was known, then other people would often ask me for my thoughts on fashion. And I remember some really well-known fashion editor said, "Oh, he's kind of become the unofficial ambassador for Australian fashion," and they didn't like that. It's like, because they thought they were the ones that should be doing it. So I don't think it happened that I'm a guy and I'm a wog boy, and I'm like in a very kind of, I don't know, I won't say it, but there weren't many people like me. Yeah.
Isn't it interesting when you think that to promote your brand, you think getting on TV, getting in the papers and all that sort of stuff is going to be the way to float it, right?
Absolutely.
But what happens, especially, well, I assume, is a lot of people get their noses out of joint.
Yeah.
And the people that have, like, the people that obviously, can influence, especially in your industry, there's a lot of egos.
Yeah.
And
I think they perceive me as having an ego. Like when I was on TV, like I pretended to have an ego, and I can do that with the best of them. Like if I go into a function and it's full of like those people, I will bang that on, and it's like a protective mechanism to say, all right, I'm gonna be arrogant and keep it away from you. But that's actually not who I am. But I know how to do that if I have to. But there are plenty of people that do have insane egos, and when you do something that they're not doing, that they might be jealous of the fact that you're doing it, and why aren't they doing it? It's not a great feeling. Like I feel that energy, and then all of a sudden there becomes a lot of judgment and a lot of talk and all that sort of stuff. And it's like I was doing it because I thought it'd be fun, and I also thought that it would be good to get the name out there. Like in the most simple terms, that's what I thought that was.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, that's what people pay for, that sort of promotion or exposure. Like you'd think it'd be the best way to go, but sometimes it's not. So how did you turn that around? Because I guess people didn't take you too seriously, Like they more looked at you as an entertainer.
It didn't. It was like that. I don't think they knew. Well, it just made. I think this is from my perspective. Like nobody ever said it to me, but I felt that people didn't take what I did for my actual day job seriously. It was like, oh, he's on TV, and he's, those shows were big, and there was like a lot of noise around them, and it was just. I just felt that they didn't take me seriously, or didn't know. Like, I don't know, does he do sunglasses? Is he TV? Is he dresses? It muddied the waters. And I didn't like that. And when I came to a certain point, it wasn't fun either. Like, I think the show like Top Model had run its course. They wanted to start changing the format. And it's like, I'm not in for this. Like my really good friend Charlotte, who I used to love working with, was not around anymore, so there was a big piece missing out of that for me, and I just didn't want to sign up for another season, so I didn't. And then I also started thinking about my actual job, like really focusing more on being a designer and figuring out what the landscape was here in Australia. Like it was a struggle to do glamorous evening wear in a country where people don't really get dressed up very often. It's not second nature. It's not cultural for them to do that. Like in other countries, it is. Like we hear here in Australia, people say, "Oh, we're really relaxed here." So you go to a black tie wedding and people are wearing like not black tie or not, wearing full length gowns or whatever, because they say, oh, I'm not going to do that. We're really relaxed, which I read as, well, you're lazy. Well, I come from a European background where dressing up is a mark of respect. Like if we used to go visiting to somebody's house, like we would get dressed because I'm being respectful to you and I'm coming to you and I'm not going to come empty-handed and we're going to dress nice to come and see you. Whereas it doesn't happen here. But in many other countries in the world, it's a real thing. Like people do get dressed up. It doesn't matter whether you have money, whether you don't, you're going to put your best foot forward. And it's, people always equate getting dressed up nicely to having a lot of money. Yes, it makes it like a lot more things open to you if you do have that, but there's plenty of amazing places that you can go to and you can get a nice pair of pants or a nice jacket or a shirt or a dress. And, so long as you're groomed and, you look after what you've got, you press your shirt and you shine your shoes. And my grandfather always used to say, so long as you're neat, clean and tidy,
Yeah.
and so put your best foot forward and present yourself. And that became increasingly difficult here because there were certain price points that department stores wanted me to meet. And I tried to do that, but, when we were manufacturing in Australia, we have, the wages are higher here and also the breadth of people that know how to produce garments, like that skill set of great sample machinists and, has dwindled over over a period of time, and it's not available. So then we had to look at going, overseas to get that made. And I still couldn't achieve the price tags that they wanted from me. But for it still to look like what Alex Perry looks like. And so that was a head fuck for me for a long time. And I just used to think, oh, maybe I'm just not good enough but it was the fact that I couldn't do it. And I think that I was trying to do it in a market that didn't really want it. And then when I started selling internationally, there was this turnaround where, I was doing what I was doing. The dresses were what I thought was expensive. They didn't think that. They thought in the affordable luxury sphere, which is where I sit. I remember we were selling to Neiman Marcus, and I think my evening gowns were around $2,500 US, and they thought, oh, that's great. It's a really good price. And I was so used to hearing like, you got to make them for 600. You got to make them for 600. And it's like, I couldn't, couldn't do anything. And then it became like I hit a spot over there in the beginning where they may have been coming in for another international designer and the dresses were like $8,000 or $10,000. And they'd see mine and they'd see the quality of them and how they fit. And they said they're coming in thinking they want this, but they end up walking away with 2 or 3 of yours, because they look a certain way. And in that, internationally, like $2,500 US for a certain type of woman is not a lot of money.
Yes, exactly. But
I feel terrible when I say it here. Like, people look at me what are you saying? But it's I know it's a lot of money. I know what that is. But in certain circles, it isn't. It's that's a pair of shoes.
Yeah. Exactly. But isn't it interesting? Because when you said 2,500 US. For New Zealanders and Australians, right?
Which is clench,
which is your market, right? What?
Yeah.
Which was your market, and probably still is to a certain extent. That is a shitload of money because the US dollar compared to the Kiwi dollar and the Australian dollar is a lot, right? But when you take that, if it was 2,500 New Zealand dollars, it wouldn't be so bad, eh? It's different.
I don't know what the exchange. I'm really bad at that. I don't know what. The exchange.
It's about.
You think double?
It's pretty much double, bro. It's pretty much double.
Double right? What? So, double Australian.
Yeah. So it's expensive. So if you came over here to buy your stuff, if you're a Kiwi traveling over here, it's expensive. But
it's all
you? Sorry,
it is all relative. I mean, there could be a lunch in certain parts of the world.
It is.
In Europe anyway.
Breaking away from the Australian New Zealand market or the Australian market was the best thing you ever did.
Yes,
because you would have been.
If I didn't do that, I'd be pulling coffees, at a cafe or something. The business wouldn't have survived because I read for a very long time that what I was doing wasn't good enough and that people didn't like it, and only after, when I started selling to the rest of the world, I realized that no, there was never anything wrong with it. It wasn't right for here. And I've got no animosity about that. But it took me a while to figure that out, because you immediately figure out what's wrong with me, what's wrong with these. They're not good enough. They're not like the shape, the fit, the color, everything, rather than, hey, do you know what? There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just not right for here.
When did you realise that you wanted to be a designer? Like, at what age were you like?
Oh, I fluked that. I didn't. Like, I finished college, I went to like an all boys school. It was a football school, and we didn't have careers advisors or anything. And when I left school, I went to uni, because I didn't know, I'll go to uni, I'll be a teacher, which in hindsight I would have been so shit at. But I stayed there, and then I had missed all the entrance exams for anything that was design associated. So I did a whole lot of entrance exams for like fashion design, because it was drawing, and I was good at drawing, and interior design and graphic design. And I thought, if it's something with drawing, I think I'll be good. And fashion was the one that I got into, and so I left uni and then started fashion design the following year. But I was so naive, I didn't know what I just thought. I don't know. I didn't even think about it. I thought I would draw things and give them to somebody, and then they'd go and make something. I really didn't even consider, what that was. And then when I went to college, on the third day we went into, it was called the School of Fashion, and it was this big room, and they had all these like sewing machines on the tables, and I just thought, oh no, I'm here for the drawing. Like, I didn't oh, what's this? And I didn't. And everybody that was there knew how to sew at some point. Like, the girls did. There was a majority of girls, and there were a couple of guys, and they all do it. And I didn't even know how to open the machine. Like, I didn't know how to take the lid off it. But they were sitting there doing everything and like threading it up, and I'm like, I'd left uni, and my dad was from Greece, and he was so proud when I went to university, because his son had gone to university. That was something that he'd, dreamed of, that he could never have, that he wanted his children to have access to. And so, and he was gutted when I left uni. He just, and she didn't understand what a fashion designer was. So I said to him, it's like a tailor, like, I'm going to be a tailor. And then that kind of calmed him down, and he thought, that's respectable. You'll be able to make a living, and you'll be able to, put food on the table and stuff. And so I thought, there's no way I can leave here and go home and tell Dad that I've left this as well. Like, I've just left one education system and another one. So I just thought, I'll just have to stick it out, and have to learn to do it.
There's a bit of a perception too when you think of the fashion world. It's like it's all glamour, it's glitz, it's image, it's polish.
Yeah.
We were having a bit of a chat the other day, Alex, and you were saying that's basically max 2%.
2%
of what you do. Because when you think about it, your passion is, for example, design and fashion. It's what got you into it.
Yeah.
But you've got to learn to be a business person. You've got to self-promote. You've got to learn to market. There are all of these, behind the scenes things. So what people, I guess, are seeing on the outside is the fun, frivolous side, parties, fashion shows, catwalks, all that sort of stuff. That is not the reality.
No, in the beginning, like, I remember I thought what you just said, that it's like, it's being part of that scene. And I thought it was really important to get invited. I used to see things in the Sunday paper, and they'd have all the social events and stuff. And it's like, I've got to be part of that, like, to be seen or to be known or to have your name in the newspaper, and, it didn't take that long, but it took a while. And then it was this whole hierarchy of like, are you going to this, or are you going to that, and who's there, and, whatever. And I wanted to do it because I thought that would give me some kind of validation that I was a good enough designer, that I was invited to a Vogue function, or Moet and Chandon, or whatever it was, like, to be there where everybody else was. And you try, and people still do, they try really hard to get into that. There are influencers who are busting their gut to be recognized by established brands that we know are, sort of like top shelf. And you also realize soon after that actually doesn't do anything.
Nothing.
Well, you reached the pinnacle, right?
Well, you think, like, I remember when I still, it was early days, and I had a shop in Kensington in Sydney, which is like not a very fashionable area.
Yeah. Sorry, we just got a couple of showers.
You keep going, guys.
And
I'll
I
just
get
whack
it.
a dog.
Okay.
Hey, mate, like, it's really, and so you're about 7 years older than me, but like,
Yeah.
what sort of, like, we're just chatting offline here, like the changes that you must have seen, bro, from the 90s, hey, like, you know, like, it's just like,
The 90s was great when you think
Fucking
when I
A.
think back at it. But
Yeah.
because I was in such a headspace of like trying to make the business work, I kind of didn't appreciate it as much as I should have, because there was like, I had no money. It was like working like 7 days a week. It was like always trying to get there. So I remember a lot of it, but I missed a lot of it because I was just too bogged down in trying to be successful.
Yeah. Here's a quick question. So kind of that theme of cult of personality, you know, wanting to be seen in the social pages.
Yeah.
You know, you get to the pinnacle of it where you're kind of the go-to guy for the fashion commentary in Australia, you're on TV shows, yet it's not affecting your bottom line, which is what you are as a fashion designer, right? So in terms of your business, you have a lot of people like who've worn your clothes, Jennifer Lopez, we mentioned before, Gwyneth Paltrow, Rihanna, Was that a strategy for you to reach out to people like that, or did they start wearing your things? Because it's interesting that personalities are helping your brand. Yeah. Rather than you being the brand and the face behind it.
I don't have an ego, but I do have an ego in the sense that, like, I don't like reaching out to people because I feel I want them to recognize it and come to me, because I think it's like a sympathy fuck. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, they haven't come to you.
Hang on, a sympathy fuck.
Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah, of course you are, mate.
Oh, okay.
How many of those have you had?
I want them to reach out for it. You know what I mean? Like, we don't do that. A lot of people, like celebrities, come to Australia and people just like send things to the hotel. It's like, I've got a little bit too much dignity for that. Like, I want them, and as it's turned out the way that I wanted it to turn out. Like, it sort of goes like one person wears it and then somebody else will see it. It could be a hairdresser, it could be the makeup artist, the photographer on set, and they'll mention it somewhere else, or somebody will see that person and then they do that. And then it's kind of like, instead of influencers and putting things on Instagram and all that sort of stuff, which we control now, and it is valuable in many ways, but that personal interaction, if somebody sees somebody wearing it and they look great, all of a sudden they'll reach out, or their stylist will reach out, and it's that then snowballs along. But at the core of everything, it's got to be good. Like, you can jump up and down and advertise and, you know, get it on it. Like, if what you've got is good, I feel it will eventually triumph. Like, you'll get somewhere, and you've got to keep questioning what it is. Like, not just blind faith and like your friends going, oh my God, just so great, and that show was beautiful, and like, oh, she looked amazing. Well, they're going to say that to you because they're your friends. Unless you've got a couple of good ones that goes, well, she looked shit in that, or it was like greasy, or it didn't fit right, or whatever. And I'm that person to myself anyway. It's like, oh, whatever you throw at me, I've already looked at it, I've clocked it, I've self-critiqued, and I know what to do next time. So I think that's really important. Like, you know how my mum was always really great like that. Other people would always be talking about their children and how, oh my God, and she's so talented, and he's this and he's that. My mum was like, I'd be doing something and she'd look at it and she goes, is that crooked there? Like, it's like, oh, can't you just come in and worship for a minute? Like, you gotta. But she did fiercely internally, but she always told us the truth. It was never, you were never going to get it sugar coated. And I'm like that, and some people can understand it and some people can't. It's not, I'm not being an asshole, or I'm not being a bitch. I'm just saying it as I see it, because I can't, I just can't blow sunshine for no reason. And especially if you're my friend, I'm going to tell you what I really think to get the best out of you.
What's the only way to roll?
Do you think a lot of that drive and resilience in you, clearly your parents had an input there, but, you know, the immigrant story, like the Greek background, do you think there's a role to play in that? You know, like tight communities, family, values like that.
When you grow up and you cop it at school, just because for no other reason other than you're a little bit different. Like your lunch is different, or your surname is longer. Like Perry's not my real surname, but like anything like that, kids will attack that. And till today, it's like nothing's different in that sphere. But I remember how it was, because like we were made to feel not welcome. Do you know, we weren't Aussie. Didn't have blonde hair. Didn't have like, my surname wasn't Smith or whatever. Like everything, tick all the boxes. I was a fat, greasy, like wog. I had glasses. I had like nothing. Nothing was great in that respect. And then when you're, and I'm not having a boohoo moment, because I think that all of that stuff that happened, it just makes you stronger. And it's
Resilient.
like, oh, okay, we're resilient. And then when you come out of it, it's like you work hard to kind of somehow validate yourself that you, like, whatever it was that made you different or whatever, like I embraced it all. Like when I was at school, I didn't want to have meatballs in my sandwich that mum used to make. So I said, I just want peanut butter. And so I ate peanut butter sandwiches for my entire school life, because there was nothing that kids could, you know, everyone would open their sandwiches and show people what they got. And I remember doing it once, and some kids said, oh, he's got shit in his sandwich. And it was like, okay, well, I don't want to be the guy that has shit in his sandwich, and do it. So you react to that and you do it. But then when I got out of there, I embraced everything. And it's like, I'm fiercely Greek, and I love my culture and my family and everything. And everybody else who's like that. Like for every Lebanese guy, Italian guy, Jewish guy that was at school and they had a different lunch and people just like sledged them, I'm okay. I've got a very strong sense of self, and I will come at you. If you come for me, I will come for you. It's like that. It is not a problem. But there's a whole lot of kids who are not like that, who don't, and it plays with their mental health, and it does. We didn't know the word mental health back then. It was like, oh, I'm being teased. And it's like, yeah, but when you're being tied up to a post at school and people are like hitting you, that's not being teased. You know, having your head shoved down the toilet is not. It's not teasing. Teasing is like,
Hey, it's interesting though. In Australia, like, you know, you say the wogs, which includes the Italians, the Greeks, like anybody that's dark skinned, right?
Croatian,
but in Australia now, there's so many of them, like, and it makes Australia what it is today. Like, it just gives it that flavour. That's what I loved about Australia when I played there in the 90s, and going there, just the different types of flavour, the foods, all that sort of stuff. Is it still like racist in that regard?
Look, people, I don't know. I suspect that yes, because like if you were raised like that, if you were the guy that was saying that to me at school or to anybody else, I suspect that there's a good chance that you've raised your children like that and you've sort of passed that on. And I suspect that other people have not. They've elevated themselves, and they're not vibrating low anymore. But I'm also in my industry is one of the most embracing, loving kind of industries. Yes, there's a whole lot of ego heads and there's a lot of there's all that. But the heart of the people in my industry, I really believe in. Like, they will help anybody. Then racist is the last thing that I think that they are. Now, especially now, I don't think there's a place for that. Like, I mean, I was always grown up to be accepting of everybody, like race, color, sexuality, whatever. It was never a problem. Like, I came from a very loving household, which was the safety net when anything would ever happen. Doesn't matter what happened outside of school. When I got home, I was safe and I was loved, and I was had my brothers and my mum and dad. So then dust yourself off, get up the next day and go out there and do it. Because I knew that I was going to have like my safe home and people that loved me, and it was okay.
Here's an extension to that. So you had your safe home and escape from, teasing or bullies was, let's call them what they were. Social media, online, that sort of stuff. Kids can't escape from that today. And Alex, you and I have talked a lot in the past about this sort of stuff. We might get into talking about our friend Charlotte and, her take on that and what happened to her. A lot of that was because of that. But kids cannot escape that at home. There is no safe place for them anymore.
No, there isn't. It's like, look, I don't know. I don't know what it's like to navigate like children like right now. I would imagine, I speak to a lot of my friends or, who have got kids of that age, pardon me, and I'd imagine that you'd have to be on it all the time, like seeing everything that's posted. Look, I don't know, but it's far more treacherous now, and it's in some way I'd rather have my head flushed down the toilet, and it's just like it's done. And even when those things happen, it was kind of done. And then, until the next time that somebody wanted to do that, but it was just a physical thing that happened rather than the abuse that people are subjected to on social media. It attacks their minds, and if you are, if you're kind of a little bit of an anxious person, or you don't have a great sense of self or confidence, and those things can attack you in the most brutal way, and then you're lying in bed at night and like go to a very dark place, and if you don't have a supportive home or you don't talk to your parents about it, it just is such a dark thing that happens in today, like for older people, but especially for kids. It's like I don't know how they come to terms with that, unless they've got incredibly great parents and they're across it. And I saw this just a couple of years back. There was this one woman who went to a school, and there was somebody that was bullying her child, and she went in there and said to a son or a daughter, which one is it? And she went over to this kid and just lost her shit at this child. And all these people were saying, oh my God, you should know better as a parent. It's like, no, that's me. I would
same.
go and scare the living
shit out of them. Yeah.
And then like, okay, you try this tomorrow because my mum's going to be waiting at like outside again. And I don't think there's any consequences for those people, for those kids, by their parents at home when they find out that that's it. It's like you go to town on them, like their anger and bullying is their currency to other people, and it makes them feel good. So, you receive that. Yeah. And so it might sound like an eye for an eye sort of thing, but I believe that if you just, there's at some point talking isn't going to do anything, or the schools don't seem to be able to take responsibility for it. And in it all, the kid who's the victim is just unsupported. Nobody's looking after him. Nobody's coming to help them in any way. And the kid that's the bully is buoyed by that every time he gets away with it. It's like, I'm going to do it again.
Yeah, but and here's the flip side of that too. But the kid that's the bully, he's also the one that's suffering though, because he's not, for someone to be a bully, he's obviously not getting the right education, the right, the parents aren't. He's alone, because you don't become a bully.
I often hear that people have been bullied themselves. That manifests in a way that's how they can exert their power and strength by, I'm going to bully somebody else because somebody's doing it to me. I'm going to do it to somebody else, and somehow they feel better, I guess. By that.
It's really weird. But like, here's the thing about that social media stuff. Social media started coming around 2006, 7, 8, and I'm 57. Yeah, and I was like, and like. I know who I am. I'm strong-minded, all the stuff. I was like, I don't want to get on social media because I don't want to see shit that people say about you, right? So if I'm a person who's, like centered, I know who I am, I'm strong-willed and all that sort of stuff. If I can't handle that shit, reading stuff about you, because, when you read stuff about you, whether it's true or not, but when you read stuff, it really sticks with you, right? So if you're just a young child, or you're a teenager or whatever stuff, and you see stuff about yourself, like, how the hell do you deal with that?
Yeah, I don't think people should ever assume that just because the perception is you're tough like you, that you can handle it. Because I tell you what, I often say to Matthew, listen to what somebody's written, and he's like, I don't want to hear it. He doesn't go on it. I don't want to read it. Whereas I read it and I find it funny. Like, I have a laugh at it. You'd think people writing mean stuff about him, you'd think he would be like me. He's not. He's like, I don't want to know about it. But just going back to the bullying thing quickly, one thing that scares me for kids being bullied and the capacity that they are. When I was at school, I didn't get bullied, but everyone has a moment where you get teased or something mean's done to you. when that would happen to me, I would never let my parents know. I would never tell them, because for me, it was so humiliating. I would never have wanted them to know. So I imagine if I was getting inundated at night, 50 kids at school are on your socials and they're calling you this, that, and the other, there's no way in hell I would have let my parents find out. I wouldn't, I would have buried it and hidden it.
Yeah.
And I think a kid who would react like that would be scary and troubling. And I that could have taken me to a really, really dark place, because who's standing up for you then?
Here's the kicker. Like I used to say certain things to mum, and some things I'm not going to go into that. But there was this one kid at school who lived in my street, and he was born on the same day as me, and he was like, really used to come round and used to say, call out from the kitchen window to mum, like, can Alex come out? And play with him. When he'd get to school, he'd get together with this other guy, and he was a complete fucking asshole. And they would always come and grab me and said, 3:00 after school, and bash you up. So I'd sit through my whole day quietly shitting myself, thinking, God, I'm going to get beat up. I don't know how to fight. And, my uncle, who used to be a boxer, said to him, and he goes, I'm going to tell you how to fucking fight. Like he was Greek, that was Aussie kind of thing. And he was like a real bruiser. And so then they never would. But I sat there in fear every day, thinking that it was going to happen. And then when I'd go home, he'd come over and call out to mum and say, can Alex come out and play? It's like, what the fuck's the matter with you? Like, you literally, you're this one person here and one person there. So it was this, I kind of wish they just would have beat me up. Like, it was the having to sit there worrying about it all day was kind of like this mental torture.
Like Chinese water torture. Can we confirm that some kids maybe are just psychopaths?
It's
not somewhere.
You're a product of your upbringing.
I don't know. Like on a human level, I think some people are just shit. And there's no rhyme nor reason. I don't understand it, and they don't seem to. I just don't get it. I think some people are like that, and I think some people, like we spoke about earlier, have got lack empathy or are all different reasons for it. That they can be that type of person.
Hey, Alex, when you were growing up, and I think this has changed a lot now, because when I was growing up, mealtime and stuff, everybody sat around the table. There were no phones.
Yep. 100%.
But meals lasted for 45 minutes. Everybody debriefed their day. You chatted. Dad was the head of the table. Mum was, she was cooking the food and da-da-da. But everybody sat down, but breakfast, lunch,
100%.
dinner, pretty much. Those days have gone. Do you know what I mean? Like it's to have the time to sit around a table now with your family. You're lucky if you get one meal a day, right? That sort of has gone. So I think that's why everybody's become quite separate, even within a family unit. You know, so we're sort of all fighting these battles individually, our day-to-day lives. You go to school now, and you're like, "Fuck, I'm on my own."
Yeah, I'm going to sound like I'm 100, but there was things had a time, and there was a rule for certain things. Like we always sat down with the family at dinner. We ate what mum cooked. Like, it wasn't like, oh no, I don't like this, and I'm like, everybody's allowed to kind of get away with whatever they want. Oh, I don't want that. I don't like Brussels sprouts, or I don't know, this, or I don't want to watch this on TV, or I've got to. Everyone finds a way and negotiates their way out of doing the ritual things that we did as families, that they still do in a lot of countries all over the world. And it sort of keeps that family nucleus together. And it's like, you know what? It's really important to sit down with your family and the people that you love and break bread. It's less important for you to go and watch whatever it is that you want to watch, because you just feel like doing that, like to have a bit of respect for those traditions, as simple as it is. Like, sit down and have lunch together, be with your brothers and sisters and your mum and dad or whoever it is, and and connect in that way. And it's sad for those things to dissipate. Like, I don't think there's a whole lot that we can do about it, but remembering that it is an important thing to do, like to connect in that way on a very simple, basic human level.
I think there are preventable things though. Like, you go to a restaurant, you see a family, and the little kids are all on iPads. Like, why did you bring them? Those are simple measures you can take to reintegrate the family.
Screens have made our lives like like really good in some aspects, but holy hell, it's like really changed a lot of the way we interact. You know?
It's also, we're not even delving into what they're looking at in terms of the content when they're on these devices. And I guess one of the things that this twofold thing of you, Alex, because your thing is fashion and it's beauty and it's youth and it's glamour. Again, perception. There's so much more behind it, but that is kind of what you're selling. Yet, as I know, and people will be hearing, there's so much more to you. So how do you find the balance, and how do people with that, and then seeing the value of healthy body image, and not placing the importance on really what you look like, how much your clothes cost, what labels you're wearing, and those sorts of things. Like, where's the balance?
When we do things like that, if you like, when we dress nicely to go out or to go to work or whatever it is, the whole thing is about making you feel good. It's like it is at its core. Like when I make clothes and they make women feel good or feel beautiful or confident, that's at the core of it. That's why I do it, and I love it. I love seeing those transformative moments when a girl's going out somewhere special and she puts on, like an Alex Perry dress, and they feel a certain way and they look a certain way. It's the same principle when you go and get your hair done, you get your eyelashes done, your makeup done, shoot all that. It's making you feel good, and we all look different. Like I cop this all the time on Top Model, where it's like, oh, you're just like skinny people and dressing skinny girls and whatever. My personal taste in the way women look on a runway is long and lean. I'm not going to apologize for that. Everybody says, oh, you should have girls of all sizes. Look, I get it. Just doesn't blow my skirt up, like seeing like a 5'11" girl in like heels and like beautiful. That's just my thing. I dress women of every size. I've always done it. I'm particularly good at like dressing. When I used to do custom clothing, like bigger women. Like it's not about what your body shape is. It's about doing the best that you can with it, and that's what we all strive to do. So, unfortunately, the how it's bent right out of shape is that social media is not real. It's a curated version that you put together of your life. Like the minute girls start using apps to change their physicality, they use like filters that's not your skin. Like you don't look like that. And all those apps that they can make your cheeks thinner and your waist smaller and face tuned and whatever. That is now a computer generated image of you. It's not you.
But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. Like when you see that, like I'm a half-wit when it comes to that sort of stuff. But when I see it, you immediately know you're like, that's not your skin. That's not what
No, we do. A lot of people don't. Like a lot of people, I know it's we can't believe that, but a lot of people don't know that. Like we do. Wow. It's like so we talk about it, we see it, we do it, but a lot of people don't. And then when you look at that grid and you go down and there's like all these images of these girls and like incredible and guys and they're I've seen ones that are really badly done and there's like a jacked guy at the gym, but he's not very good at using Facetune, and like the wall at the back has bowed in when he's trying to do, or like bowed out. It's like, okay, buddy, you either pay a bit more attention or get somebody professional to do it for you, because you just look like a complete tool now that you've done this.
Yeah.
But it like kids especially, they don't know, they're desensitized to it in a certain way, but they're also maybe not aware of the manipulation that goes on in those pictures and it's like AI. Like we're doing some research today, and one of my design managers, Sal, she goes, is that a real image or is it like AI? And I just said, look, I thought it was real, but now I can't tell. Like I'm looking at it and it's just, I don't know. I don't know what to say to you. Like it might be, it might not be. So then when you're doing that, it's warped everything. It's not like, we used to take a photo, used to go in the photo album. Oh, that's a good one of me. Not like I'm obliterating every bad photograph of me. So there is like nobody in the world will see it. They will only see these perfect pictures of me. Yeah. Like we used to do promo shots for like different TV shows and stuff. And I remember at one point they'd retouched everything so much. And I just looked and I said, but you know they're going to see me in real life at some point. It's not this. It's like,
Yeah.
for a
But
second you go, oh my God, I look really great. Well, no, you don't, mate. That's actually not the way you
Yeah.
look.
Yeah.
that must
And
be
that's a disconnect with reality.
a total disconnect. It's like a calculation that they have to make. They're like, I'm going to put this up. It looks nothing like me, but the image or the idea, a curated image that I put up of myself is so important that it doesn't really matter what the reality is because most people aren't even going to see that anyway. So I'll kind of live this normal, ugly
I think that
existence.
what people do though is they do it, and it's like some kind of body dysmorphia where they convince themselves that they actually do look like that. I think they think in their own
Maybe.
mind, and then when you get in a group photo, like in a group picture with people, that's the proof of the pudding, right? Like I've
Yeah.
got good lighting here. Like I'm sitting at a white table, so the light's bouncing off. But if you go into some restaurant and they take
Yeah.
a picture of it and you don't have the capability to do anything to it, it's like, well, fucking hell,
Yeah.
well, there we are.
Or
Like,
when they're fighting tooth and nail to make sure you use their camera to take the photo
yeah.
because
Or
they can
video.
get
When you
or
video,
video.
you can't do anything. All I can do is find good lighting, and then when you video yourself, well,
Yeah.
that's who you are. You can't
Yeah,
fudge that. You can't do anything.
that's why I love videos. And everyone
Yeah.
goes, but why do you communicate by
I
video?
love
I'm
it.
like, yeah, if I send a message, I'm
Yeah,
not
you
going
do.
to, I'll just send a video message because
Yeah.
when you send a text message, lots of things get confused. You can be saying one thing, but somebody can take it a different way, or there's a word there.
No, but some.
when, but
I've
when
got
you,
serial friends that ring me and try and FaceTime. It's like, are you kidding? Like where I am right now, what the light is like. This is not. That's not going
that's
to
so
happen.
weird because I do that all the time. I'm like, why won't they take my call? You fucking
Yeah, this is why I'm telling you right now. I've got a girlfriend who does that, and she's always sitting bathed in light, and she looks incredible. It's like, if you could just see me, I've got to like run to the kitchen, try and get a little like light action happening at the front.
Bro,
It's like,
that's
and then
so
if I ever
funny.
do answer it, invariably she's literally glowing there. It's like, of course you're fucking trying to like video call me because you look incredible.
Wow, because it used to bug me. I'm like, you'd be bringing a bird, like it's because for me, they can see you, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not getting in good light or anything. I'm just like, hey, how you going? And then I'm like, but why won't they answer? Because there's no disconnect in the communication. Nothing can get rewired or you can misunderstand things or whatever. Hey, you can see what I'm saying. You can see how I'm saying it. You can see that I'm there's nothing that can get in the way of that communication, right?
Yeah,
so I think
that's
it's
exactly
the true.
right.
I think it's the truest form of communication, right? Whereas
Face to face is pretty good.
or but face to face. But if you can actually hear and see what somebody's saying,
I agree.
rather than reading it or hiding behind,
you can't do anything about it. You just have to know that for people like you, that you got to know that you've got a safe lighting spot. That if like, oh, it's him. Hang on, let me just run over to the
To your ring light.
Dude.
Well, you're getting a little more aware of it because when we do the little setups now for these, like Matthew was like, I think we could just shift the location because I'm enjoying the benefits of better lighting.
No,
see,
bro,
but
it's
that's
just what
the
it
thing.
washes you. It washes you out. Like if we,
So you know to be out of it now.
yeah, but only not because it's making me look any better. It's like people can't see us because we look like ghosts. That's like, bro, like I mean, like fucking, you can't do much about that, mate.
Do you know what? When you go to a red carpet event, it is famously always the worst. Like, got some lighting that comes through. But I look like a Cabbage Patch person. Like, it's just because I've got a rounder face. It's so bad.
Yeah.
And then they have these photos of you on file that they drag out if they do a story, and it's like, oh yeah, you would fucking use that picture, wouldn't you? Don't get one of the nice ones. Whereas, like, I know they just don't. They love it, That Daily Mail, like they just pull out the worst one that they can get of you.
Yeah.
Unless they're writing a nice story, then somehow they find a nice picture, but it suits the narrative to do a shit one. And then people always look at your picture, oh, he's got a filter on that. It's like, no, but I know where to go. People don't understand how good lighting will make you look like a normal human being or literally like a troll from somewhere, and it's just because it's nice light on you, it's not shadowy, it's not whatever. It makes a huge difference. And then there's all the people that they manufacture their pictures. It's not that, but it's like when you find a nice, warm light that's coming from everywhere, you just look better. And I don't understand why people have an issue with that. It's like, well, if you're going to put something out there, or if you're going to have your picture in the paper or on TV, well, don't you want to look your best? Like,
Totally.
why is it like that? It's bad when media people do it. That you're just like, well, I want to look the best I can. I don't want to look like shit.
Yeah.
Well, also, I think the physical. It's so easy to go ad hominem. Like everyone, if you can take the ad hominem, like
word?
Ad hominem.
Did you just make that up?
No, I was actually going to say that. I was like, what the fuck is ad hominem?
Well, argument ad hominem, like in debating, it's when you rather than attacking an issue, you attack somebody's character or ad hominem, like something about.
How do you spell
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give
HOMINIMUM.
Okay,
something like that. But to pick on a feature on anyone, you can pick on the most beautiful person. Say you've got a fat earlobe, but there's always something.
Yeah.
So I always think that's weak to go for something physical. But how do you deal with that? Because we all look a certain way, and how do you?
I've had everything written. I don't look like Twitter, especially like when I was on X, but I was on it when it was Twitter. I just thought it was the most toxic environment ever in the history of the world. And I got off it after Charlotte killed herself. And I just thought, I don't want any of that energy coming at me or to be part of that. I thought it was terrible. And Instagram was for a certain period of time, but now it's not. It's like, I think just the people that I have following me, I don't put that much on myself in there, but it's kind of like clothes and who wear. And every now and then I'll do a picture from the gym or whatever. And I think I've trained that environment for me to be kind. Twitter, I remember I went on the Carl and Jackie O show once. We've got this radio thing with them, and I don't read the comments. I really don't. I used to, and it's like I don't want that energy coming on me. And then a friend of mine, he goes, "Have you read the comments at the bottom of the Carl and Jackie O thing?" And I said no. And so I went through 10, and then I just stopped. It was like, there were the worst things, and I just thought, what kind of loser are you that you're at home and you, on a human level, that you can write that? I get that you don't know me and I don't know you, and you're anonymous, and you've got, instead of having a profile picture, it's a picture of like a keg of beer and a pig. That's and you're writing about my physicality, are you, or about what I do? But the breadth of things that they say, it's like, you know what? Call my office, make an appointment, come here, I will take your appointment, and you sit across the road from me, and I dare you to say that to me.
Yeah.
But no, I will come back at you. You don't have the balls. You live in a stinking tenement somewhere out in buttfuck Idaho. You look like a pig, and you're writing this, and luckily I am who I am. It's like the get fucked is right here. Like it's ready for you. But other people are not. But the fact that you are that person that does that, it's like it says everything about you to me. But
100%.
It's there, and it's brutal, and it's I say to people when they talk to me about that and they've got kids, it's like, cut it off. Like,
that's what you got to do.
You don't want that energy coming into their lives. And because I know they're all doing it and whatever, but you know what? So if their parents, like Mum used to say to me about, so-and-so's going to him, she says, well, so-and-so jumped off the Harbour Bridge with you. That kind of thing. Well, that is that. And it's I don't know how many kids have to kill themselves for people to take it really seriously and go, you know what, I don't care if those other people are doing it. You are not on that platform.
But because not everyone is you, Alex, and it's not just kids killing themselves. And I didn't know whether we were you touched on it, so I might as well, but whether we're going to talk about this.
Let's go to death.
But Charlotte Dawson, like one of my greatest friends ever, and yours too, which is how we know each other. One of the most physically beautiful human beings I've ever seen, ever. And she didn't think that about herself necessarily. I can't speak for her, but she she would have those comments because that's where people went, and that deeply affected her.
Hers were the worst.
But she fucking read
Were the
them.
worst. Yeah, she did.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
fun. I'm having those conversations with her. Like, she'd get up at 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't think your phone should be anywhere near you when you're sleeping. I
Yeah.
don't. Like, buy an alarm clock, put your phone somewhere else. But she'd wake up at 2 in the morning. And, I said to her, don't read that shit. Like, because in the middle of the night, everything seems worse. If something happens and it's at night or in the middle of the night, it just seems worse. Like, the
So
minute the sun
true.
comes up and it's daytime, it's like, okay, it's not that bad. If you had a bad dream and it's like, if you wake up in the middle of the night, it's like, oh my God, I'm in a horror movie. When it's daylight is done, you've gotten through it. And I used to just don't open them, but she couldn't help herself. I know what that thing is too. Like, I've got this rule: I don't answer back to anybody unless I'm in an airport in a lounge and I'm waiting for it. And if I read something, I just go, okay, let's go. I've got my vodka. I'm like, you think that's an insult? Like, here we go. And I'm like, whatever.
Yeah.
And then when they call my phone, it's like, okay, I'm done. But because I know that they love it when you interact. Like, I know that they do,
Yeah.
because they're such losers and they've got such nothing going on in their lives. But if I'm in that mood, and it's like, it's always in a lounge waiting for a plane,
Yeah.
up the pointy bit, not like those losers who are strapped to the wing and like going, who knows up and where. And I feel naughty, and I just go, oh, so you think it's okay to say that to me? I'm sorry that you misused your moment to insult me, because now I'm going to show you what it's really
Yeah.
like to write something foul. And I
Yeah.
do. I just get like filth in there.
But you serve
I
those.
always think it's better to just, like, turn the other cheek.
Thanks, Jesus.
I always.
So how
I
many
know.
times do you turn your cheek and then like you're being
Yeah, I get it.
like you're being the bigger guy, but how many times do you keep turning the cheek and then you're just like you're the mug? Like, at some point you just
Yeah,
have
yeah.
to.
Yeah, no, I absolutely, I get it. You've got to defend yourself at some point, but that's why I took the decision just to no social media from like, and
Yeah.
I still don't think I've ever posted anything in my life, but there's lots of shit about me, but like, I don't have a say in it really.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Look,
like,
I'm
that's why
happy to read the
but
comments.
if I jumped on social media and I started like, oh mate, I reckon I would just get a torrent of like hate mail, and I'd be like,
Yeah.
but I'm not like that, and I'd like
Yeah.
it, and then if like I just
No, but do
like, it
you
would
know
just
why I do it? Very seldom. Like, I haven't done it for a long time, but because it's just fun.
yeah,
Like, when they think they've gotten to you,
Mate.
it's like, oh, you're a sweetheart. Like, you think that was bad, and so it's literally like an hour of fun, and then I'm over it, and I'm done with it. But that hasn't.
sweet.
That was like more like a Twitter thing. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen on my Insta. Now my Instagram, it's like block, delete. Might
Yeah.
send them a filthy message, like DM them, and then block and delete. And it's like, you no longer. You can't throw your energy at me. But
Yeah,
it
but
doesn't
so
happen very much anymore.
But who's got time? That's the thing. Who's got time for that sort of negative shit?
Losers.
Yeah, but it's just so
Losers.
bizarre. And it's given people like that like social media and like the advent of technology and all that. It's great, but it's actually giving people that are like you say, that are just the dregs of society, like a voice, and it's a really powerful voice because it comes straight to you. Like back in the 90s, 2000s and stuff, you had to be on television to be known. No one had the opportunity to say anything. If you got in the paper, that was your voice, right? Now, like everyone has a voice, and so we're not shielded from anything. We're just bombarded with all this shit.
Do you know what it is? It's like it is that when people say their comeback for writing something filthy is usually something like, "Well, it's just my opinion." It's like, I've got no fucking interest in your
opinion. Yeah,
like, there's
exactly.
so many. If you've got an opinion of something that makes sense or that contributes or is constructive or whatever,
Yeah.
but what you're saying is, I can say something hateful to you,
Yeah.
and it's just my opinion. It's
Yeah.
like, and that has been given to everyone, and that's the catch cry from that. It was like, I don't care about your opinion. It doesn't add anything. It says to me that you are an unhappy, low achiever and that you've got real issues and you are just deflecting and throwing your bile at other people who are usually successful in a certain way. And I don't just mean
100%.
financially, I mean happy. If you people like kids show some nice pictures of themselves at the weekend with it, and then some asshole's going to come in and they're going to attack that. So you can't even, you get frightened to share with something that's really nice.
That's exactly it, bro. You don't want to. You don't want to
going to come in.
You don't want to put yourself out there. You don't want to because for fear of getting some asshole like just coming back and smacking you, right? Now, so what's happened to humanity that we're like that? Like those people, like I kind of feel sorry for them because obviously they've been brought up poorly because you're a product of your upbringing, right? But then why are some people, when they come from a not so good background and it's been rough and all that, but yet they come out and they flourish, right?
Yeah.
And they become good people and they work on themselves, whereas other people and they think it's their right because they've had a tough upbringing that they can abuse the shit out of you. It's just so weird.
I know lots of people like that have come from really rough upbringings. They've had it really tough, and they rise like the phoenix, and they're beautiful people, and they don't want to repeat whatever that is. They try hard. They become successful. They become great parents. All that sort of stuff. And I just think that it's innate in you. Like there will be the people that will accept that and become victims and hate on everybody because they had such a hard time. And there's other people that will go, you know what? Like I know my father, when he was growing up in Greece, he had the hardest time. He was the most beautiful man, but he survived what he survived and was amazing from it, was like the best dad ever. And I know a lot of people like that. And I know also the other people who are, they grab onto that victimhood and they just run with it, and it's like, I don't know why. It's like you could make your life, you could be great, you could be nice, but you choose to go down that other way. I don't know, good and evil.
Isn't it amazing how and they've got all the advantages that you need to get ahead in life, yet they hang on to just the rubbish. And they keep going back to the rubbish and, but this happened to me and this happened to me. And so this is what I'm like, fuck it. Who cares what happened back there? It's about what's going to happen.
To a positive.
Totally. Like the people that whinge about, this and that, I'm like, fuck, doesn't matter. Just move on.
It's exhausting whinging and being negative. Like it's exhausting. It's it's a lot easier to be optimistic and to smile and to, I know there's you're going to say, there's a lot of people going through really terrible things, but we have all experienced different levels of terrible, in your family, with your family's health and dealt with death and grief and, poverty and a whole heap of stuff. You don't know anyone's story. When people have a go, it's like, you don't know what that person is going through. They might be putting on a smile and like Charlotte used to, how are you? Huge smile, great. But you don't know what that is. So that when you attack those people, anybody, you don't know. You could be putting the last nail in the coffin.
Exactly. You say the wrong thing to the wrong person who's in the wrong state of mind on the wrong day. And, you could be culpable in them choosing to make a decision that, is a final decision. And I truly believe that I lost a friend because of people like this. And a lot of the people putting this stuff out, they need to consider the consequence that whether they get caught or not, whether it gets found out or not, they will to some degree have blood on their hands for the rest of their lives. And that sounds dramatic, but it's fucking true.
I said exactly that in an interview not long after Charlotte. I said, if you were one of those people that did that, you've got blood on your hands today. It was literally, you could have nailed her into that coffin because you pushed that girl one step too far, and then all of your excuses of, what you think of her and that she was, glamorous and rich and this, all that stuff. You have no concept of what Charlotte or any other person is going to. You don't know what's just happened to them, and they might be right on the edge. And that comment that you make, it's like a gun. It's like that you literally, it was you did that. So
Yeah, but it says
That's
more
that.
about the people that are saying those sorts of things. When people throw shade at you, it says way. I know it's easy to say, but it says way more about them than it does about you. So that's what I take.
Of course, but it also
I
says there's a huge amount of power to words alone. You know, it's not just
100%.
action.
Like I agree with everything you guys are saying. It's despicable, right? But look, you've got to have some sort of compassion for the people that are writing that ugly shit. Because, like, imagine if you had to jump into their lives.
Sure, but it gets to a point when you know that these sorts of engagements are damaging to other human beings, and you proceed to do it. And
it's got to be.
I fail to have empathy for some people.
I have none. I have absolutely none.
I get you. And we're talking
Because
about
there are people that are like
Charlotte
that are
Dawson.
poor, like when you're poor, they've got nothing. They're like, they might live in a little village in Greece, or they might be in India on the road, or they might be like in whatever here, like but they're beautiful human people who don't, who will still help somebody in need. I know it sounds dramatic, but it's true. I've seen people like that who have got nothing, and they'll share their last, piece of bread with you, in that respect. So, and I don't have, if you've got a phone and you are able to write and you can get onto whatever that social media platform is, and you do that to somebody, you have no humanity for me.
I agree.
Can't understand that it's that. So you're not, if you've got a phone, sorry, but you're not like on
You're not in the third world, probably.
poverty. You could sell your phone and get something to eat. It's not. I'm not saying that correctly, but you know what I mean? You're of a certain place. If you have a phone and you can pay the bill for it and you can do it, you might have no job, you might have whatever, but you're getting some government handout. You don't get a pass from me for doing that stuff to a human because you lack humanity.
And here's the thing, you can have absolutely nothing at all, you can have all the money and possessions of the world. What's for sure is that at some point or other in your life, you're going to encounter some level of adversity. And I'm a firm believer in the fact that when you are in that adversity, and if you're lucky enough to come out of it, you get to choose to become a victim because of it. You become that nasty, hateful, self-serving troll. Or you learn to develop a sense of empathy so that when you encounter another person who's enduring hardship, similar or not to what you've been through, you can help them, or you can at least feel for them. So I think there's a choice there.
I think that you just nailed it, that word. That if you have empathy, you won't do those things. If you can, like as you're writing it, if you think you're going to send it, if you have empathy, that will stop you from doing that because you will know what it could do to that person. Do you know what I mean? On that level. I think.
Here's
I agree with you guys 100%.
And empathy, from a psychiatric or psychological perspective, I should say, is a learned characteristic too. We're born with a certain level of it, but it's something that's taught and learnt. So there's no excuse for not having empathy.
Yeah. I know what you're saying about sometimes that person is going through something, and they're doing it, but I understand that they might be in a really dark place, and that's a reaction to, them, it's their reaction to their life. That's what it is. But
and it is.
Just think, I know it's that, but I think that your empathy has to kick in to go, all right, so you're going through a really hard time, and that's terrible. But you want to make somebody else go through that as well. Yeah. But you don't know that what you just say to them could be the thing that tips them over.
But I think that's what you have to point out.
To do that.
You have to point that out. Like if somebody's trolling you or whatever, I would point it out and say, hey, what's going on in your life for you to be so just vile? I kind of feel sorry for you. Like, are you okay? And you turn the camera back on them, and a lot of times they go, oh, shit, you're right. Hey, and then they start pouring their heart out. So you're like, if somebody comes up to me or I'm in a bar and it just has a go at me, I'm like, hey, bro, are you okay? Is everything okay, mate? It's what's going on? Because, I'm just standing here having a beer and you've just come up and ripped into me. I don't even know you. Yeah. Are you right?
Yeah.
And then by the end of it, because he's got an opinion of me that he's formed, whether he knows me or not, and it's like I hate that dude, so I'm going to go up and give him a piece of his mind. By the time he leaves, he's like, "Fuck, he's a good bastard."
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So that's like, if you can turn the camera back on them, you know,
Yeah.
I've got a really quick tongue, I've got a
With good
sharp
lighting.
tongue. I can nail the shit out of people. I can say some real mean shit. I think you and I'd get on pretty well, Alex.
Yeah, no, I'm sure we would.
But I've literally filed those sharp edges off to go, hey, like, that's how so I
He
turn
just
the camera
saves
back on
them for his co-host. So, Alex,
Bro, it's been so interesting talking to you. It's like,
No, I've loved it. It's been good fun.
I could talk to you for another couple of hours because, you know, but
No, I'm good
but
like that.
I just
I'm
wanted
good
to
for a
say,
chat.
I just
He's the
wanted to
best.
say congratulations on a fabulous career, and
Thank you.
you're obviously still going places, and to keep
Yeah.
doing what you're doing. And
He's not gonna give you a free gown.
No, fuck, I don't want a free gown, mate. Shit, I'd look good in one though.
I can. We go up to a size 20.
Thank you. But you know, like to get knocked back like you did, and then to head off to Paris and to launch yourself internationally, and to keep backing yourself, just it says amazing things about the person that you are, mate. And you know, like, it's been a real privilege to chat to you and get to know you.
Thank you. No, you guys are great. You just have to work hard. Like nothing. I know it sounds really basic, but you just have to work hard. Like nothing's going to get given to you. Nothing's, you've got to keep doing it. Like, and this sounds really corny, but you've got to believe in your ability and just keep working at it. You know,
Yeah.
like things will come in the way, but you're just single-minded about the fact that, you know, as long as what you do is good, like, if you're doing shit stuff, then like try something else. Like, but you got to be doing something good and able to like move forward with it. You know.
Yeah.
when do we draw the line?
Oh well, I think we're getting better.
When do we realise we do
We're
shit stuff?
Yeah.
What do you mean? No, I listened to the last. You sent me. I don't know what, when I was like jumping on. He was an English rugby player, I think.
Oh,
the
yeah,
gay guy,
Keegan Hurst.
Keegan, yeah.
What a great guy! Like,
Wasn't he?
really, like he sounded like one of those real, I don't know, Jersey Shore kind of, but in England, what do they call that? Essex kind of
Yeah.
guys. But was so eloquent the way he spoke, and like it was. I loved listening to it. It was amazing. It
Matthew
like very uplifting.
Matthew was so confused. But you don't look gay. You don't sound gay. Boom.
No, but neither did he. Like it was like he was just a big bruiser, you know. Like, but it broke my heart when he spoke about his mum that that. Really, that
exactly.
Really, it broke my heart. I just thought, wow, like that. You know, for your mum, like his ex-wife. That's all come good, and that would have been awful and stuff. But when he said that his mum just like kind of disowned him, I just
I know the people closest to him ditched him. Like,
Not
I
an
wanted to have a bit
uncommon,
of a man cry about that.
not an uncommon story for a lot of
So
communities.
keep doing what you guys are doing. I think it's fantastic. Just get.
Thank you, Alex.
Thanks, Alex. Hey, mate, I've literally got a bike.
Okay, Matthew.
Hey, bro. Take it easy,
See you later.
mate.
Loved it.
Lovely to talk
Love
to
you,
you.
Alex.
We'll talk later.
Okay, my friend.
See you
Thank
later.
you so much.
Bye. Pleasure.